Good morning, Adam. Welcome, and thank you for agreeing to chat with me today.
Lee, thank you very much for having me on your show. This is my first time on radio, and thank you very much.
That's amazing. And you're in an online magazine, so wherever this magazine travels, everyone's we're going to see your interview.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Adam Kethro, very successful businessman and also an author. I had to mention that because when I heard about the story and your outlook on life when you started your business, Bridge Shipping, in 1980, and your outlook with not discriminating against any color, culture, sex, anything, I just had to interview you. So tell me a bit, before we get to the book, or to the novel, please tell me a bit about the shipping company that you started in 1980, what your outlook was, and what it is that you did.
Lee, thank you. I was 23 years old, and I'd traveled around the world twice. I was a sort of bright young man in the corporate world, and I was very confident. I had a BMW 528i. I thought, oh, this was really styling. And I started my own business, just two of us. And I had a small Beetle, not a Beetle, it was a, what do you call those? Golf. It was a small Golf.
Yes.
And after 5 months, I got a hell of a stammer. I was stuttering. My nerves were gone. I was battling. I was going bankrupt. Yeah. And then suddenly I got some business, difficult business to do in Mozambique. And then, you know, one thing led to another. I got from one guy, put to another guy, a referral. So we built up to a business which today has 2,700 employees.
Wow, that is amazing. Yeah. But you retired. You still part of the business?
Retired. Yeah, I started the business in 1980. I retired in 2005. And in 2008, the staff in Standard Bank bought me out.
Wow.
So I handed over to the
properly retired.
Lee, I've got a bridging finance business. I just started a salvage business, and I play the market a bit, but a half day at most. Half day at most.
Okay. And you have not, wait, before I get to the novel, you mentioned that when you started the company, I think back in those days, it was maybe something that was frowned upon for a lot of people, because you just, your outlook was that you were going to employ irrespective of what the skin color is and irrespective of whether you were a man or a woman. Tell me a bit about that.
Well, you know, Lee, a business is like a war. It's a survival. When you start, it's so difficult. Nobody wants to help you. I said, please give me some business. They said, look, you know, we're not sure if you'll be here next week, so we'll be embarrassed if you're not, so we won't give you any business. And you say you have that attitude, then I won't be here next week. So in the end, at one stage, I had more women executives than men. But it wasn't a woman-men thing. It was a competency. I mean, who could find a competent person that was black and then not promote them? You were there to make money and to succeed. So yes. If the people were green or orange or male or female or gay, yes. Who cared? You were there to make money and run a business. So it was never a matter of discrimination. You couldn't yes. afford it. It was a luxury. Yeah. You could afford that.
Well, that's an amazing story. And I want to know about the novel. I want to know because it is something you wrote, I'm assuming. I want you to tell us about the book because I haven't read it yet. Just about the title, the significance of the title, and then just what the book is about.
Lee, thank you. In the 70s, there was a protest singer in the sort of Bob Dylan mold called Phil Oakes. And he had an album which I absolutely loved called Pleasures of the Harbour. And I thought, seeing as I was in the shipping business, I thought the harbour is central to shipping, and I started my work in Durban Harbour. I'd call it Pleasures of the Harbour. Not that it was all pleasurable, but yes. It was all related to the harbour. So I thought it'd be a bit ironic to call it Pleasures of the Harbour.
That's wonderful. And tell us, what is it about? Is it about your experience, in the business, in your life? Is the book based on your own experiences?
Okay, so Lee, I'm writing three books. This is the middle book. This is my life from 17 to 50. The first book is 7 to 17. And then the third book is after I retired in 2005. But this particular book starts off in the army. And, you know, the army was a much maligned thing in the 70s, but actually it made a man out of me. Before that, I was a teenager and a sort of a quasi-intellectual. You go to the army, it's a great leveler and it makes a man out of you. So the book starts with my experience in the army with a great man called Major Stark, who was known as the White Bushman. He died recently. There's a book written about him. Fascinating guy. And then starts with my career in shipping. And then when I started on my own, and some of the wild adventures that I had in Mozambique during the war, with MiGs firing on the ground around near me, and in Egypt and in Tanzania. So when I first started the business, in those days, the world was dominated by companies like Anglo-American and Old Mutual. So there wasn't a lot of space for individuals. I mean, the market was closed really because of sanctions. And so I went to Malawi and Mozambique and Zambia and Zimbabwe to get business because the big guys didn't really want to go there because it was risky and dangerous.
Yeah.
And that created a space for me. And I learned then that, if you want to start a business, start where it's difficult because it's easier, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
There are contradictory terms, but it's true.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, what other, or what advice do you have for other entrepreneurs out there coming from all your life's experience? If you look at the generations now starting their own businesses, except now for the very good advice, which I truly firmly believe in, is start where it's difficult, because it is the easiest, I suppose. Any other advice that you have for business owners and entrepreneurs?
Lee, when I started the business at 23, I had all sorts of maxims in my mind. Like I wouldn't go and see a troublesome film or read a thought-provoking book because I had sort of tunnel vision. I had to succeed, and I wouldn't be distracted by thought-provoking questions. And I think that's true of 23-year-olds. Soldiers go to war when they're young. The old guys like me, they're the home guard. So I think if you're going to start a business, start when you're young. You might lack some experience, but you've got no wife and children and a car and a mortgage. I mean, there are people that do that and they start, but I think they're much more brave than a 23-year-old because he's got less risk, and that's a good time to start. What you don't know, you learn as you go along.
Yes, for sure. Well, I cannot wait to read your book. Adam, thank you so much for chatting with us today. Really appreciate it. And I'm really excited about your article in this issue of the deVonk Lifestyle magazine. It's going to be amazing. And it was really nice chatting to you. Thank you.
Lee, thank you very much. And my book is available from Loot and in all good bookstores. And thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it so much.
You're welcome. Thanks, Adam. Keep well.
Bye-bye.
Bye.